Hello folks, today I am going to be looking at the external internal, and we're going to be doing a bit of quality control on it, just checking all the connections, checking that the PCB is working, and just generally making sure that the pedal is doing what it's supposed to do and kind of within the limits. And also we're going to be checking the modulation bias settings for the self mod. So we start by plugging everything in. That's the right place to begin. Input jack into the input jack, output jack into the output jack. So this is being run into a Nano Cortex with a looper pedal, and it's so that I can quickly just run through everything and and just make sure that everything is doing what it's supposed to do. So first, check the bypass. Volume controls working. You can hear the random settings there. So this is the drive. You want to do a full sweep of the controls to make sure that the potentiometers themselves are fully functioning. So then going to the modulation, you can hear it's obviously working. Pulling it back. See your time delay. We check the self mod. Now, there's something very important that we need to do with this pedal, which we don't need to do with other ones, which is setting the self mod bias trim pot inside. And in order to do that, I basically set it to absolute maximum level settings. Self mod on, depth for the modulation for the LFO. Time delay at maximum, this makes no difference in that setting, and then hit go. So you can hear at the moment, I'll do a little change between the two. I'll turn this down just a touch. There's this really broken sound in the background, and as I turn this up, you'll hear it disappear. It's gone. So there's a very fine line between it working and not working. So you can even see this LED, and it's in there. And so if I dial it back, obviously you'll hear that it's doing you can hear the self mod working there, right? So I'd say that's probably where it's kind of designed to be. So self mod is working and it's sort of dialed in. What I like to do is, however, is check it roughly in the clean spot, because there's a particular sound I kind of wanted to get with it on this pedal in general. And so I get there by putting this on, dialing this to about midway, which is hard to do here. And you'll hear in a moment with the melody. It's not quite getting it. So I like to increase it by hand every now and then, a little bit beyond where the limitations are. I'll explain why in a second. It's hearing a bit more jangly now, which is where we want it. This is. That's where I want it. Just touch back from there. So the reason I do that is because if we then put this green channel back on and set all the maximum settings, we kind of want to be able to have that and it not completely cut out, because when we get to the absolute maximum settings, the second signal, the delayed signal, the modulated signal, completely cuts out. We don't want that. We want it to be kind of within a reasonable range. And when you dial everything up to the max, you don't want your signal to cut out. But at the same time, we do want a particular sound in the clean channel. So there you can hear. So that's how I get the self-mod bias trim pot into the right zone. So once we've got that, we basically just make sure all the functions are working, which we've done. I've gone through it again. Full suite. So modulation is working nicely, volume working nicely, drive. So those are all working. We'll just self mod. We know that already, but just for demonstration purposes. And the green channel. There you go. So that's our boxes sorted. Everything is working. So that's where I put in my green and orange bezels. And then we check the number on the front, 209. This is where, I don't know, this is just how I do it. Write in our 209. And take our back plate. Put in the serial number. Put in which model it is. It's the external internal. Board 1.7, as you can read down here. I made it. There's nobody else working here. But just in case at some point I do ever employ somebody else, I don't know if I will ever reach that point. And I write thank you in German because it's the least I can do with my limited German. Just kidding. And I've written hello YouTube because this will go out on YouTube. So thank you very much for watching. That's me quality controlling. Oh, I have missed obviously a few things. Checking connections here, which I would always do. These are all nice and sturdy. Just have a quick once over of all other little connections. We'll see these, anything kind of done by hand. And it's all looking pretty good. Oh, one other final step. Everything's laid out here. I actually do have another little step. I don't have a list here. I'm just doing this by memory for the video. But yeah, this also. So I put a little blob of nail varnish in there, not so that you can't use it, but it will break the seal if you turn it. So you can still modify it, it's fine, but just setting it so it doesn't break too much in transit, should that ever happen. So the reason I don't need to check if that's off is because it works either way. But what you do need to check for is the gate, which I heard. I apologize, I didn't point that out. But yeah, so that's quality control on this. This can go on top. Screws can come in. I actually didn't think about whether I would be able to fit my drill in between here and there, between this enclosure and the camera, but it works. No, I don't do it by hand, but it's on the minimum settings on the drill. And there you have it. 209, done. Thank you very much.